welcome to another exciting edition of Best MTG Decks Ever. I am your host, Joseph, and today I have the pleasure of bringing you some of my favorite commanders from Dominaria United and an axe. So, without any ceremony, let's just get into it. Starting off with Astor, Bearer of Blades, legendary creature, human warrior, 4/4. When Astor, Bearer of Blades enters the battlefield, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal an equipment or vehicle card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Equipment you control have Equip, 1 colorless. Vehicles you control have Crew, 1. So, the thing that I like about this creature is you're spending 4 mana, and you do kind of get a large body out of it. You get a 4/4. So that kind of makes up for the 4 mana that you got to spend on it. And then another good thing that I like about this is that the commander allows you to build your deck in a variety of ways. So you could go all equipment, you could go all vehicles, you could do a combination of the two. It's in Boros, so I mean, like it's done, like we've seen the equipment thing in Boros before, so that's nothing new. But we do have vehicles you control have Crew 1. Kind of seems like it might be fun to brew. On to the next one. Elas Core, Sadistic Pilgrim, legendary creature, Phyrexian Core, Cleric. Death Touch. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield you control, you gain 1 life. Whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. So, it's just another Aristocrats commander. The cool thing is it's only 2 mana, and it's got Death Touch. So it kind of dissuades people from attacking you because you can kill their creature. It's easy to get back on the board. It's not going to draw a lot of direct removal unless you're getting ready to do something disgusting on the board. You're getting life when creatures are coming out, and when you're sacking creatures, your opponents are losing 1 life. How much more needs to be said about that? It's just a strong commander for Aristocrats. On to the next one. This is my favorite commander. I think it's my favorite commander of the entire set. It's Jorah, Ageless Innovator, legendary creature, human artificer. Tap her to put 2 ingenuity counters on Jorah. I think her name's Jorah. Jorah, Ageless Innovator. Then you may put an artifact card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield, where X is the number of ingenuity counters on Jorah. Jorah. The reason why I really like this card is because I just hate most Izzet commanders. I just don't get into them. And I don't like the play. However, this one looks really interesting, and chances are I'm going to build a deck from her, because I don't even have any Izzet decks right now. I make them, and I break them down, and I make them, and I break them down, and I've never made an Izzet deck that I really enjoyed. This one looks really freaking cool, because I love tapping stuff to get an effect. I just love tapping. And the ability on this is just really cool, because you can put a bunch of artifacts straight onto the board. You've got blue, you can draw, you can get artifacts into your hand, you can keep tapping this. You've got tons of artifacts that allow you to untap, so you could re-tap her. You don't even have to pay mana to tap her. You can just tap her all day long. Just tap, 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 just keep tapping it. Did I mention I love tapping? And yeah, when I build this one, I might even do a video on it, if I've got the time. Next up, we've got Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief. Legendary creature, fairy, rogue, flying, 2/1. Whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief, you may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy. A copy of an aura spell becomes a token. So, the thing that you have to pay attention to is that this says you may copy that spell. So I think a lot of people can get confused by this easily. Like when you read it, you're like, oh, well, if someone casts a removal spell, well, then my commander's gone. Not so. It only costs 2 mana. You could do a lot of sick stuff with this. It looks like a very creative commander. Usually Simic, it's just kind of like, you know, I draw a bunch, I cast big spells, and, you know, I get effects from laying lands out into the board, landfall, blah, I win. But this one's very unique. This one is calling out to me. The only thing is I've already got two Simic decks. I've got an Infinite Turns deck. That was the very first deck that I ever built was a Tatyova Infinite Turns deck. Yeah, I'm very classy. And the other one is the guy who copies creatures whenever you cast them. I can't remember his name. I'll put it onto the screen right here once I figure it out. So I don't know if I want to do that. I think the commander that I'm going to build off of from this set is going to be Jorah. But this one looks really interesting. If I ever break down one of my other Simic decks, I may build something from this just because it looks so creative. And you can just, you know, like depending on your opponents, like if you know that you play in a pod with somebody that plays, you know, like a Killian, you know, like the Orzhov commander where you cast spells on him and you just keep building him up or anything like that. Yeah, it would be a great commander. Can't think of the names of this stuff. All right, next commander, we've got Lagomos, Hand of Hatred. 1 colorless, 1 black, 1 red. Legendary creature, human shaman, 1/3. Beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Tap her to... Is that a guy? No, that's a guy. So tap him? I don't know if we're tapping him or tapping her. Well, we're going to tap something, all right. Search your library for a card. Put it into your hand, then shuffle. Activate only if 5 or more creatures die this turn. So this commander is like... I don't know how it's going to play. The thing is like, if you can set this up right, you could do really disgusting stuff. So like, you know, if you manage to make him indestructible for the turn, or like if you know, cast a Feign Death on him and then board wipe. I mean, you're already 2 cards in. Or maybe like a Dark Steel Plate, make him indestructible, board wipe. Then you tap him, and then you can tutor. And then if you've got like 1,000-year elixir, you could untap him and tap again, and you just get 2 tutors. I don't know, man. That one. I would love to see if someone built something that really like can take advantage of the tapping. But I just think it's going to be too hard to tap because you have to do so many things in order to tap. So anyway, on to the next one. We've got King Darien, the is a 10? I don't know what the hell an L is. That's an 8? Is that the 18th? I don't even know. But anyway, he's a legendary creature, human soldier. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. Spend 3 colorless, 1 green, 1 white. Put a +1/+1 counter on King Darien and create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. You can sacrifice King Darien. Creature tokens you control gain hexproof and indestructible to end of turn. So I think like King Darien, the thing that's interesting about him is I don't think he's high power. I think he's kind of like mid power. And you can kind of go 2 ways with this. You can go activated abilities and do +1/+1 counters and keep getting them big. So you want to get like big mana out there. You want to ramp hard and then do things to increase the amount of mana that you have, like double the amount of mana that a land produces, effects like that. Mirari's Wake, whatever. There's like a bunch of different ways, and maybe just keep on doing +1/+1 counters on him, and then like a Seedborn Muse, and just keep on tapping it, just tapping all those lands, just tap 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 tap, and then just keep putting +1/+1 counters and creating 1/1 white soldier tokens. Just go big, wide, and then, you know, like buff your creatures, go in and just smash face. Then his other abilities, so this is weird, like, because you're putting +1/+1 counters on him, and if you spend all this time putting +1/+1 counters on him, you don't really want to sacrifice him to give your other creatures hexproof and indestructible, but it's kind of nice to have that there. I don't know if you would, you know, like maybe if you built the deck, you would want to focus on one of those over the other ones. Like, instead of putting a bunch of mana into him and getting +1/+1 counters, you just keep him on the board to sacrifice to protect your go wide strategy. I don't know. But it looked interesting, at the very least. On to the next one. Maria, Scholar of Antiquity. 1 colorless, 1 red, 1 green. Legendary creature, Elf Artificer. Tap an untapped non-token artifact you control. Add green. Tap 2 untapped non-token artifacts you control. Exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. It's like... It's like a... I don't know if this is good or not. It's like, man, I just saw this card around here. It was, what's her name? Well, anyway, there was like another green creature that came out. I'll put it on the screen. Jaheira. That's what it was. Jaheira. And she kind of is like the green Urza or whatever. And this is like trying to be a Gruul Urza, so you can tap. The thing is it's only non-token artifacts, which kind of sucks. Like, if you're in Gruul, that means you've got green, so it's like you could probably just ramp harder by just ramping instead of playing non-token artifacts. I mean, I guess you could like go with a like a stacks deck and play stacks artifacts, then use them to, didn't mean to bump that, then use them to tap, and you just keep tapping those artifacts, just keep tapping them, tap, and then add a green mana to your mana pool, and then just play more artifacts. I don't know. But it looks very interesting, though. I have an Urza deck, I have a Jaheira deck, and... yeah, I like tapping other things other than lands for mana. So, cool card. Next up, we've got Nimada, Primeval Warden, 2 colorless, 1 black, 1 green, legendary creature, Tree Folk. Reach. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. When you do, create a 1/1 green Saproling creature token. Pay 1 green, sacrifice a Saproling. Nimada Primeval Warden gets +2/+2 until end of turn. 1 colorless, 1 black. Sacrifice 2 Saprolings, draw a card. So this is a really cool card, actually. For anyone who wants to do a Saproling deck, here you go. Anyone who wanted to have like a Tree Folk commander, here you go. You've got... why am I drawing a blank? Man, my memory is just like garbage right now. But you've got black and green, so you've got tons of removal, which is good. I think like a deck like this, ooh, yeah, you just put a lot of removal in there, start killing creatures, creating saplings, and then you can... I don't know, like, because you can draw cards. Any commander where you can draw cards, it's going to be kind of good. The +2/+2, like, what are you going to do? You're going to kill your opponent's creatures. I mean, this one actually makes me think. The other good thing is all your opponent's creatures are exiled instead of going to the graveyard, so it's got graveyard hate burned into the commander. Man, this one's really making me think. guess you could just get a bunch of sapling tokens, make him big, go to face. I mean, he doesn't have trample. He's not flying. I guess, and you got to pay mana to sacrifice the 2 saplings. I mean, it's kind of, it's got so much potential. I feel like this card should really just be pay 1 black, sacrifice 2 saplings, draw a card, but it might be worth playtesting to see how many saplings get created in a game. But yeah, I don't know if that one's actually going to be good. Next one, we've got Radabic of Urborg, legendary creature, zombie wizard, vigilance, ward 2. Other zombies you control have vigilance. Whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary, and it's a 2/2 black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. This looks really cool, because you could just put a bunch of legendary creatures in there, and this guy's got ward. You know, it's a 3/3. It's the minimal size that it needs to be for a forecast, making its stats, you know, just barely like average, maybe below average, about average. But yeah, man, that whenever a legendary creature you control dies, that's really powerful. I still don't think that I would build a deck with it though, but it's really cool. Next, this is kind of like one of the hype cards for the deck, or I mean for the set. For Dominaria United. Shieldred, the Apocalypse, legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor, Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. I mean, I don't like this. I know it's a powerful card, but I'm not really into it. It's got great stats for a 4 cost. It's got Death Touch, I guess. I mean, it's already a 4/5. But yeah, I mean, you just, you know, wheel effects are going to be big. It's kind of stacksy whenever your opponent's drawing cards. Like, they're on a timetable. They draw, you know, 20 cards, and they're done. I don't know. Cool card, though. Seems powerful. Be better if it wasn't just black. Like, if it was, like, black-red or black-blue. I mean, it would be stupid. Anyway, next card, we've got Vohar Vodalian, Desecrator, legendary creature, Phyrexian Merfolk Wizard. Tap to draw a card, then discard a card. If you discarded an instant or a sorcery card this way, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Tap to sacrifice Vohar Vodalian, Desecrator. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Activate only as a sorcery. It's got a lot of potential. It kind of sucks that, I mean, like, the tap ability, just draw a card, then discard a card. That, and the fact that it's only a 2 cost, make it a worthy commander no matter what, because you can just start cycling through cards. I don't know if you would really want to bother with the sacrifice thing. I don't know. I mean, sure, there's going to be some combos and stuff with that, but I would imagine that you just want to keep tapping it. Just tap, tap, tap. Just keep tapping this. Draw a card, discard it, discard another card. You've got graveyard recursion. You're pulling stuff out. People are losing life. You're gaining life, which is kind of different with blue, that you're gaining life. But yeah, I think this one's one of the more powerful commanders from this set. And lastly, but not leastly, we've got Zur Eternal Schemer. 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black, legendary creature, human wizard, flying, enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. 1 colorless, 1 white. Target non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature in addition to its other types and has base power and base toughness, each equal to its mana value. This is just like a powerful card. It looks really boring to me. I mean, it's going to be popular. A lot of people are going to want to play it, but I don't know. It just, I mean, there's, you know, I don't know. It's just, just play a bunch of enchantment creatures. Like, there's nothing special about it. But yeah, that is my top commanders from Dominaria United, and yeah, there's a lot of other commanders and stuff in here. Please feel free to leave comments about any of them that you thought were cool that I missed, and I will be seeing you later. Have a good day.